When thinking about how you go about making your wealth decisions, not only with regard to your portfolio, but also with regard to your planning and the way you make sense of anything that has to do with personal finance, have you thought about the nature of the relationship of the person you're working with? A lot of people talk about the importance of collaboration and working on a collaborative basis. And that's the way I worked for many, many years in my career as a financial advisor. However, in 2009, I became a portfolio manager and within a few years started working exclusively on a discretionary basis. What that means is that for the past, say, 15 years or so, I've been working with my clients who are actually delegators. Instead of working collaboratively and trying to work things out to where I say one thing and they say another, we work back and forth. The clients that I work with now increasingly have come to recognize that there's a great deal of benefit in being delegators. That means that we do a lot of work on the front end to make sure that we understand what they want and what they need. And there's a clear ownership of responsibility that rests with the portfolio manager who has a fiduciary obligation to do what's best for the clients. But once those main concerns are understood and the client relationship is set out, it's a lot easier for a lot of people to simply give the job to someone else who understands capital markets better, who understands financial planning better, to do what needs to be done without having to worry about having a discussion about every little micro detail. It frees up the time for the people who oftentimes have other priorities and frankly don't really care that much about the minutia of how things work and why things work. They just want to make sure that it gets done. So it allows things to be done quickly. It allows things to be done purposefully. And it's an outcomes-based alignment. So what that means is that as long as that what you want to get done does in fact get done in the way you want it done, you should be happy. And a lot of people are very delighted when they can actually take the financial planning and a lot of the minutia of the financial decision-making off their plate to give it to someone they can trust, who can then take it and run with it and make sure that things are done, that everything is looked at and looked after. It avoids passing the buck back and forth and waiting to have a paralysis of analysis when decisions can't be made because there's a lot of back and forth, as opposed to simply moving forward with a purposeful direction because the person in charge knows which way things need to go and what needs to be done. It sets clear expectations and it allows you to have a high level of service for the people who have questions, because now the questions that come forward are in fact the sorts of things that need to be addressed because they're important to the person who wants to have those questions attended to. So now, instead of having just general questions that are routine that you go through as a matter of course, the questions that are asked by the clients are questions that are important to the client. The client is saying, thanks, you've been doing all these things. Wonderful. I'm very happy, but I want to know a little bit more about this. Why are we talking about having a spousal RSP? Why are we talking about putting money into a TFSA this year instead of an RSP? Those sorts of things. And those questions can be answered. And that kind of clarity and that kind of detail is available all the time for anybody who wants it and needs it. The point is, many people don't want it. They want to take their financial burden off their plate, off their agenda, give it to someone who knows what they're doing, and make sure that it all gets done properly and accurately. I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to be able to work with people who are delegators, because it has been a real benefit for both parties. Everyone seems happier. If you're worried about the current investment climate and your money, go to my website to book a call for personalized advice to assist you in feeling secure and protected about your retirement.